Hello, everybody. Today is Tea Time Tuesday. I'm so excited to see everyone joining us this morning. It is a beautiful Tuesday here in Concord, North Carolina. The sun is shining brightly. It's kind of crisp today. I don't know where you guys are coming from, but I'm telling you, it's a little crisp today, but it's beautiful. I'm telling you, we want to welcome October. October is here. And all tea timers, we want to say hello to all of our tea timers. We're so excited that you're joining with us. We want to go ahead and invite you to like and share our broadcast today. Just a reminder that we are streaming live over there in YouTube. So we would like to get more YouTube subscribers. So if you know someone that likes to utilize YouTube, go refer them to the YouTube channel, have them like and share, or you can like and share the broadcast have a YouTube presence over there. So we just want to say good afternoon to everyone. We're so excited. Just go ahead and invite your friends, invite your coworkers, invite your family. We got a lot of people tuning in today. Hello, tea timers. I see Nicole. I see Keisha, Renita. Oh, hello to everyone. Hi, it's good to see you too. That's my sister out there. Good to see everybody today. We're looking forward to having a great time in October. Actually, this month is the month of October, and we will be focusing in on Emotional Wellness Month. We'll be focusing, October is Emotional Wellness Month. And as you can see on the screen, wellness is an active process through which people become aware of and make choices that are more focused on them. You know, you really want to focus in on emotional wellness because that is very important. We'll also be focusing in on emotional intelligence. This is Emotional Intelligence Month. And as you can see, it's focusing in on different facets of emotional intelligence, self awareness, empathy, motivation, self regulation, and social skills. And we'll be talking more about that within this month of October. So excited. When I think of October, I think of harvest. Hello, Hope. That's our director of digital renewal and stewardship out there. Hi, Hope. How you doing out there? We are so excited to see everyone. We hope everyone have that you have your tea, that you bought your journal. You know, I got my journal. Hi, Nicole. It's good to see you, Nicole. And I have my tea too. So I am actually ready. So, before we get started today, let's go ahead and talk about our book of the week. Our book of the week is called The Life God Blesses, The Secret of Enjoying God's Favor by Jim Sambala. And we have this book in the thought room. In the thought room, our in-house library here at the Renewal Center. I'm going to give you a little bit of a highlight of this book. It says, God is searching for people to bless. Jim Sambala believes that God plays favorites, that certain people experience his blessings more abundantly than others. Have these people learned a formula or a simple technique that will guarantee his blessing? Or is there something more profound at work in their lives? In The Life God Blesses, this particular book, Jim Sambala points out that God is constantly searching for people to bless. He's not looking for men and women with special talents or unusual intelligence or great strength, but for those who possess a certain kind of heart. Find out how to have a heart that God cannot resist, and you will become a channel of his blessing for your family, your church, and your world. So once again, this is The Life God Blesses, and it's in our thought room here at the Renewal Center, and that is our book of the week. So let's move on to our tea of the week. A very flavorful tea is Bartlett pear tea. Now, I love Bartlett pears. How many of you out there like pears? Give me some thumbs up. That's one of my favorite fruit. I love pears. But actually, there is a tea called Bartlett pear tea. And this particular tea is made from the freshly cut or Bartlett pears, and it's steeped and simmered. And you can even add cinnamon to it. It's added in with green or black tea. It's really good. And you can add the sweetener of your choice. You can even spice it up a little more with nutmeg. But Bartlett teas are very aromatic and they're rich in a sweet aroma. They have a rich flavor added to them. And these types of Bartlett pears come in various colors: green, yellow, and red. And actually, as the Bartlett pears begin to ripen, they become these colors. Isn't that amazing? We learn something new every time we tune into Tea Time Tuesday. So our tea of the week is Bartlett pear tea. So while you guys, okay, so Keisha is a pear lover. I am one too. Anyone out there enjoy eating pears? Actually, pears are harvested during the fall season. So the fall months are the best time to go and get pears. So just a little hint for you today. And so while we are getting ourselves ready for our Tea Time Tuesday, let's take a moment and locate ourselves today. And while we are doing that, think about putting your tea of choice in the chat of what you're drinking. And while you're doing that, we'll settle ourselves like we always do here at the Renewal Center and take time out to pause. Because those of you that are tuning into the Renewal Center's Tea Time Tuesday, it's all about pausing, it's all about resetting ourselves throughout the course of the day, and it's also about taking time to build resilience because that is what Tea Time Tuesday is all about. We all need to slow down and take a minute. So let's pause for a second and do a little deep breathing. A few more seconds here. Okay. Okay. I hope that you are relaxed and ready and in a place that you'll be ready to go into receiving our renewal practices today. So while we are doing that and while you're putting in your choice of tea in the chat, we're going to bring our executive director, Patrick J. Brown, to come on so he can take us into our renewal practices for today. Hi, Patrick.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Mel. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm warming up over here with some tea.
Awesome. Awesome. I have some blueberry infused coffee.
Blueberry infused coffee.
Yes, this is so rich.
That's different.
Yes, nice and warm. This is, like you said, this is happy October. And I
Yes.
love the fall. Looking forward to wearing my scarves. Looking forward to some more fedoras. Uh,
I'm wearing my fall colors today.
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to the leaves falling and all that good stuff. So
Yes.
excited about it. Folks, what's your tea of choice today? Let's see what we got here in the show. So cinnamon apple spice.
Hi,
All right.
Michelle.
Nice and folly. That's a word. Um, Blueberry lavender. All right. Anybody else?
Mm.
What other teas do you have out there today? Love to hear from you during our tea time. So excited about being here today and starting off our October,
Mm-hmm.
the last quarter of the year. It's
Yeah.
amazing. 2023, 2022, excuse me, as we close out and move into 2023. And want to encourage everyone, please prepare, get your journals out for our renewal practices today. Please make sure that you're sharing. Hey, Dad, how are you? Dr. Brown, hello.
Hey,
Great to see
Dad.
you. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, some
So good to
healthy
have
tea.
everyone on today. So, Carmela, would you like to stay on? You want to come back on today?
I'll come back on. I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to present renewal
All right.
practices today.
Okay, sounds good. And thank you for kicking it off because, as we're honoring, there are a lot of different awareness days and awareness themes for the month of
Mm-hmm.
October. Emotional intelligence and emotional wellness kind of goes together. I also found out that it was about national depression and the importance of depression awareness is part of
Yes.
this month. Domestic violence awareness is part of this month.
Yes.
There's a lot that's going on this month that I think it's important. Part of renewal practices is also awareness. So my subject for today, before I let you go, is developing self-awareness.
I like that.
Developing self-awareness. So that's going to be our emphasis for today as we reflect on emotional intelligence and emotional wellness. So I look forward to seeing you and to bring you back on here shortly.
Okay. I'll see
All right,
you
thank
later.
you. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome again to Tea Time Tuesday. I'm Executive Director of Culture and Context here at the Renewal Center, Patrick Brown. I'm excited about having all of you on today as we're kicking off the month of October, this fall season. I hope everyone is doing well. We're excited that you're a part of the Tea Time Tuesday family as Tea Timers here at the Renewal Center. And as we're focusing today on developing self-awareness, that is our emphasis for today. Focusing on self-awareness, becoming more aware of where we are, becoming more aware of our mindsets, becoming more aware of our motives and our intentions. All these are important if you're going to grow and continue to emerge and develop and evolve as a person, as an individual, as a leader. Self-awareness is important so that we can continue to grow. And so as we're honoring these awareness months, such as emotional wellness and emotional intelligence, one area of emotional intelligence is the self-awareness area. So I like to start this off today with a question. And please, if you're out there, please go ahead and like and share and tag your friends, tag your leaders, tag people that you're connected to as you're taking this pause today. And I like to ask a question. What is self-awareness? And how does it relate to emotional intelligence, or EQ? Go ahead and share your thoughts, if you will. What is self-awareness? How does it relate to emotional intelligence? See, that's part of emotional intelligence is looking at our awareness. Are we aware of who we are? So I'd like to hear from you, if you will. What is self-awareness? What's your definition of it? How do you describe it? And also begin to think through, how does it relate to emotional intelligence? We have different types of intelligences, multiple ones, musical and artistic and intellectual. There are different ways. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on this question. What is self-awareness? Because I think it's a great theme to think about this as we're looking at the latter quarter of 2022. And we're kicking off October with this emphasis. So let's hear this from Carmela. Says this: how am I feeling at this time? Thank you for sharing that. Asking yourself that question. How am I feeling at this time? So anybody else, what is self-awareness? How does it relate to emotional intelligence? I think it's important that we look at what emotional intelligence is, of course, but also looking at self-awareness and the importance of being aware of your mindset. So Carmela starts it off with saying, how am I feeling at this time? Would appreciate hearing from any of you that are out there right now, Tea Timers. Share with us your thoughts on what is self-awareness, and perhaps how does it relate to, again, emotional intelligence. So we're going to dive into this subject as a renewal practice. Please make sure that you get your journal out. We're going to do some times of reflection so we can really think through this, and also give you some pointers perhaps that might be helpful to you as you're moving forward in your growth and your expansion. Tina says today, self-awareness, evaluating and understanding where I am physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially. Thank you so much for sharing that, Tina. Appreciate it. Hello, Karen. Good to see you. Greetings to you as well. Thank you for coming on Tea Time today. All right, so let's go into what is self-awareness, discuss a little bit about how it relates to emotional intelligence. Nichelle says, knowing who you are and knowing what improves your emotional wellness or triggers your emotional wellness. Thank you for sharing that, Nichelle. Again, these are descriptions and definitions of what is self-awareness and how that relates to your EQ, or your emotional intelligence. All right, so let me give you a common definition. Self-awareness is the ability to focus on yourself and how your actions, thoughts, or emotions do or do not align with your internal standards. I'm going to let that sit right there. Go ahead and read that and think about this. Self-awareness is the ability to focus on yourself and also how your actions, your thoughts, emotions do or do not align with your internal standards. Put simply, those who are highly self-aware many times can interpret their own actions. When you're self-aware, you can interpret your feelings and your thoughts objectively. So that's the importance of being self-aware. You can evaluate, you can interpret, you can look at your thoughts and your actions. You can look at your feelings and you can begin to interpret those in an objective manner. So that's the nature of self-awareness. That's the foundation of self-aware. Are you focusing on yourself? Are you focusing on how your actions, thoughts, or emotions do or do not align? So that's important that we have alignment in terms of our thoughts, our actions, and our emotions as we're focusing on that as it relates to our standards. So I wanted us to start out with that because part of EQ, emotional intelligence, is self-awareness and understanding that. It's a rare skill many times because many times people are emotionally driven interpretations of their circumstances instead of taking a step back and saying, okay, let me focus on myself and making sure my actions and my thoughts, my emotions, they're aligning properly. So self-awareness gives you that capacity and ability to be able to make that type of focus and evaluation. So I wanted to start off with that as a foundation. Love to hear your thoughts on this in terms of how you are self-aware and what are you focusing on. Take a moment here to process this and consider this as a potential renewal practice for the month of October. What else does self-awareness do for us? Well, self-awareness allows you to assess your growth and effective and change course when necessary. Kind of put that little question mark, probably shouldn't have, but anyway, just wanted you to kind of think through that as a question. It allows you to assess your growth and perhaps do you need to change course? Do you need to change course when necessary? So when you're self-aware, you're assessing your growth and effectiveness and change your course if necessary. Are there times you need to take course or change course? Maybe you need to make a different decision. Perhaps you need to think differently about a situation or a circumstance. Self-awareness helps you assess. I think Tina said evaluate, all right, and understand. So think about what is it right now that you need to assess about your own growth, about your own effectiveness. And then ask yourself, perhaps, do I need to change course? What course do I need to change? Maybe more an open-ended question. Do I need to change course? Well, yeah, maybe I do. Well, what course do I need to change about myself in terms of my own awareness, about my own aligning with my internal standards? Part of emotional wellness is being self-aware. So that means we'll need to take a step back in order for us to observe ourselves, if that makes sense. That's part of growth as a leader specifically, because sometimes we don't know what other people are seeing. Sometimes we don't even know what we're projecting. And so again, we're going to dive a little bit more into what that means as far as projecting and perhaps what we're internalizing. But it's important that we spend some time assessing growth. And again, this is not about judging yourself negatively. This is not about condemning yourself. It's not about that either. Assessing is a great thing because it shows you where you are. And that's so powerful. And you're empowered when you're aware of where you are. All right. Be Transformed says self-observation is essential. Yes, it is. What do you think about that word self-observation? Let's break that down. Be Transformed. That's Carmel over there. Share a little bit more with us. What does that mean to you when you say self-observation? Let's move that forward. That's powerful. Nicole, thank you for sharing this. It's important to be able to gauge where you are emotionally and how those emotions are affecting your actions. Absolutely. Thank you for using that word gauge. Gauge, you're able to assess, you're able to look at, okay, what angle am I coming from? What intention am I coming from? Am I willing to gauge that? And again, folks, this is not about negative assessment. This is not about being a perfectionist. This is not about, oh my God, I'm concerned about how people view me. It's not having that overwhelming sense of constant judgment and self-condemnation. That's not what this is about. Self-awareness allows you to assess your growth. It's looking at growth. It's looking at what's emerging from within you. It's looking at effectiveness, and it's looking at perhaps change. We may need to change course. So I can ask myself, what course do I need to change? Which is open-ended, and closed-ended would be, do I need to change course? And if I say yes, then I know I need to ask a deeper question about what course am I on and what do I need to do about that in order for me to expand who I am in terms of self-awareness. So Nicole, thank you for sharing that. Again, folks, love to hear from you. How does this relate to where you are? And different aspects of our own expansion. Renewal Center says here, I think this is probably hope. Being aware fosters growth and change. Being aware fosters growth and change. Yes, it does. Okay, it creates an atmosphere for us to be able to do it. Tina says, perhaps assess the motives within. Yes, yes. Look at what our motives are. Why are we doing what we're doing, and why? What's going on inside of us? So these are areas that I think are powerful tools to help us continue to expand who we are in terms of our self-awareness. All right. So as we asked earlier, why is self-awareness important? Why is that important? We're going to dig into that a little bit deeper today. Thank you, Michelle. We appreciate that. Why is self-awareness important? Now let's dig. Can we go into this? Y'all ready? Hopefully you have your, go ahead and sip your tea. And I thought about why is self-awareness important, because sometimes I am not aware of the aura, if I can use that word, my mindset, or what kind of vibe am I giving off? Self-awareness helps you assess that vibe, what you bring when you walk into a space, when you walk into a room, when you attend a meeting, when you're on that virtual call, when you come on camera, your tone of voice, your tune. That's all important that we're looking at why self-awareness is important. Karen says self-awareness is about being in the moment. Every moment counts. Acknowledge every aspect of body, mind, and soul. Absolutely. I like everybody out there to go ahead and hashtag the term presence. Presence. Self-awareness is about presence. What presence are you bringing? What presence are you not bringing? What presence are you hiding? What presence are you emanating and revealing to others? So self-awareness, again, is about presence. Presence of your mindset, presence of your tone, presence of your tune, presence of your facial expressions, your executive presence when it's needed, your particular administration presence when it's needed, the positive, motivating presence when that's needed. Presence is important because as a foundation on why self-awareness is important. Presence is a key thing that we must begin to think through. So I thank you all for considering this as part of who we are. And I want you to think about this as it relates to where you are right now in different roles that you have in your life, different roles that you might have in your life. Think about the presence that you're bringing. All right. Michelle says it is important to me because I'm in deep thought. It looks like I'm frowning or mad to others, which is not very inviting. Thank you for sharing that transparency, Michelle. That's powerful awareness. Because sometimes I can be that as well. I'm looking, I'm like, so, all right, what's going on? Awareness is important, that we're able to look at where we are. And again, folks, this is not about condemning ourselves. This is not about staying in assessment mode where we can't continue to grow. It is about expanding who we are and continuing to be who we need to be and sharpening where we are. And I like to say improve my serve, improving how I'm serving, improving what it is that I'm developing. All right, inside of me. All right, so I want to look at two areas of self-awareness. Is that we look inward and then we look outward. Go ahead and write that down. We look inward and then we look outward. Let's pause on this as it relates to how we are looking at ourselves when it comes to self-awareness. There's that inward look of self-awareness, and then there's that outward look of self-awareness. Very key principles in this renewal practice today in the area of awareness, inward and outward. So what are your thoughts on this part as it relates to the being able to look inward, but also looking outward? Now, I think it's important. Sometimes people may say things like, well, it doesn't matter how they see me. I'm going to be me. Okay. There might be some truth to that. But there's also another truth that perhaps we could be closing doors. We could be closing opportunities because we're not aware of where we are outwardly as well. So I think it's not an either or, it's a both and circumstance. It helps you be a person that's well-rounded and very, you're able to be, I think Carmela said earlier about self-observation, because when you're looking at yourself, you're looking inwardly and you're looking outwardly to say, what presence am I bringing? All right, Carmela also shares looking inward and outward can help us make adjustments to our attitudes either way. All right, we don't want to get stuck in that's just, or you know how we say it is what it is, that's how I'm going to be. All right, it's important, like Karen just said, yes, it is a balance. Absolutely. It's a delicate dance. And so again, I want to encourage you as a renewal practice in self-awareness is to look inward. Now let's pause for a moment. What do you need to look at inwardly and what are you looking at outwardly in your own life? Just take a look at that and put that in your journal, jot it down today. What am I looking at inwardly and what am I looking at outwardly as it relates to my self-awareness? Let's consider that as a renewal practice today, looking at our inward and looking at our outward. So as part of our practice today, I would like you to just pause for a moment. And if you're journaling, go ahead and open up your journal. On the left side, I want you to put down the term inward. And on the right side, I want you to put down the term outward. Under inward, put down the word private. And under outward, put down the word public. So left side will be private, inward. Right side will be public, outward. Okay, you ready? These are what we're going to call the two states of self-awareness. Now, really, let's meditate on this. Let's locate ourselves in this. These are two states, public and private. So I want you to answer the question on the private side. How do you appear to others? Excuse me. On the private side. Excuse me. Are you noticing or reflecting your internal state? Do you notice and reflect on your internal state? Here's an example of what I mean when we talk about noticing and reflecting on our internal state. I have a meeting that's coming up. Something irritated me about a previous meeting, maybe yesterday. I have self-awareness privately or inwardly says, Patrick, how are you going to show up? What presence are you bringing to this meeting? Is it festering? Is it brewing? Is there an undercurrent? Is there an underflow? I'm asking those questions. And as I'm asking myself those questions, then I'm improving my awareness just by simply sitting there and asking that question. That way, when I'm on this next meeting that was irritating yesterday, or irritating earlier, I now am able to have power over. That's when we say self-empowerment. Self-empowerment means I recognize, I realize, I'm aware, and I'm asking that question. And so now when I answer that, I'm in a space of growth and power now. I can now make a decision. What presence am I bringing to this meeting, to this session? And literally, that's a real example because I have to do that actually every day. So it's important that we're able to do that. And sometimes we don't because we're so quick to want to be right, maybe, or I got to say what I have to say, or it is what it is, or folks going to hear what I have to say. And, we go into that realm of proving something or having a need to be right and those things instead of taking it back and saying, let me take my time here and look internally. All right. So again, let's go back through this. On the left side, we've got the private part, the self-awareness part, the internal part. On the right side, we have this public outward section. Now I want you to answer this question. How do I appear to others? How am I appearing to others? Now, here's the balance between these two. The power and the balance between these two is you don't want to spend so much time in one area that you're so concerned about what people are thinking. And then you don't want to spend one side on the other side where you don't care what others are thinking. You see what I'm saying? There has to be a balance here where I'm delicately making sure that I'm aware. Self-awareness is the journey. Self-awareness is the process. Self-awareness is about progressive, measurable progress in reasonable time. It's not about being stagnant or just staying the same. We stay the same in terms of foundation, right? But in terms of growth, we still emerge. Okay. Everything that is healthy will grow. And if something is healthy, it'll continue to grow. Living things grow, growing things change, growing things are healthy, healthy things are growing. And so we don't want to be so much so that I'm so concerned worrying about what others are thinking about me, or I'm so concerned about my internal world that I am not expanding who I am internally. All right. So we got to make sure that we're doing that. Absolutely. Check yourself. All right. Now you better say that. Yes. We want to make sure we're positively congruent. Carmela, thank you for sharing that. Yes. And that exactly right, Tayenda. Measurable progress in reasonable time. Absolutely. That is important that we're doing that as it relates to our growth. So again, let me bring this back up. All right. Left side is your private. Right side, your public. Private self-awareness internal, public self-awareness external or outward, inward and outward. All right. Making sure we're able to notice and reflect. Those who have private self-awareness are introspective. Introspective perspective. I kind of like that. An introspective perspective. I'm introspective. That's the perspective that I have. All right. Tina is sharing also having trusted people to check in with you on how they are experiencing so you can evaluate yourself. Yes, check-ins is critical, especially as leaders. Woo, especially as leaders. I went through that in my doctoral program where I had others do a 360 for me. I haven't done that type of feedback in quite a long time. And I began to notice where I was strong, where I was weak, where I was growing, areas of opportunity. And it was such a wonderful experience because I now am recognizing where it is that I'm strong in and to begin to sharpen that strength and then areas that I need to come up in. And that's important because we're always growing, we're always evolving, we're always emerging. And either we're doing this either publicly and not or and privately. So important that we have that. Absolutely. Introspective perspective. Yes, those 360s are amazing. And so that really caused me to look at where I was and where I am right now and actually where I need to be. So let's pause here for a moment. I want you to just take your time and really think through this renewal practice today as far as self-awareness, the two states, the public self-awareness, private self-awareness. We don't want to spend so much time in one area that we're denying the other. All right. These are tips into self-consciousness. All right. Sometimes we end up reluctant to share who ourselves, and then we can lack authenticity if we're so private. You hear what I mean? So, well, that's going to be me. And then as a result of that, the authenticity of who you are does not come forward if we're spending too much time in that area. All right. Got some great comments coming in right now. Always tell people who are forever evolving, and that the first thing I say is God show me and where I need to improve. Thank you for sharing that, Nichelle. Absolutely. Having accountability and being accountable, Keisha says, to self by implementing reflection. All right. These are important tips and tools in order for us to expand who we are. So I want you to pause, go ahead and sip your tea, sit there for a moment. Before we move forward in our last few renewal practices for today, just wanted to bring up an opportunity for those of you that are tea timers to consider this is what we call our Giving Tuesday. And so every Tuesday we focus on the Renewal Center as a philanthropic organization, a nonprofit organization here in North Carolina that's serving in a global and local way. We'd like you to also consider partnering with the Renewal Center. If tea time has been a strength to you, if tea time has encouraged you, if any of our programming or you see the vision and the value of where we're going, we'd like you to consider giving to the Renewal Center, partnering with us and donating. There are various ways to give. I'll bring this back up again as we close out tea time today. So you can always go to our website. You can text to give. We also have PayPal. And we have CashApp, Cash Renewal Center, PayPal, the Renewal Center 2020 at Gmail. So just wanted to share that with you as we are experiencing our renewal practices today. All right, let's dive into this one more time. I'm going to ask a question. How do you become a more self-aware person? Now take your time with this and let's not rush with this particular question. How do you become a more self-aware person? Bernard McKenzie, welcome. Should your private growth be a direct reflection of what is seen publicly? I think that there's a delicate balance between both. A delicate balance between both. There is growth privately and there is growth publicly. This is about constant growth and self-awareness and both public and private aspects of who we are. Very good question. So, folks, how do you become a more self-aware person? I'd like us to cross-pollinate our answers today. So I'm going to sit here, sip my blueberry infused coffee. I'd like to hear from you. And then we're going to share a few examples of how do you become a more self-aware person. So before you go into that meeting tomorrow or later today, take your time. My blueberry infused coffee is good today, but I tell you, goodness gracious. All right, let's bring this back up again. Oh, Nicole says brutal honesty with self is a must to become more self-aware. Yes, Nicole, share that with us. Absolutely. If we're not honest with ourselves, we're not going to be able to go anywhere with that. So thank you for sharing that, Nicole. That's a powerful principle there, is being honest with ourselves and not being in denial. Oh, I'm fine. I'm great. Yeah. Knowing good and well we're not, because we haven't taken the time for reflection. We haven't taken that time for that public self-awareness and that private self-awareness. I want you to think about that as if you're using your journal, the left side of your paper, go ahead and write that down. It's going to be your inward or your private self-awareness. And on the right side, you're going to put your outward and public self-awareness. Start thinking through those areas as part of your journaling, especially as a leader. Because sometimes as leaders, we don't take the time to really look at what we need to be more aware of as leaders. We talked about presence. Okay, let's do that again. Bring that forward, folks, with me. Presence. Hashtag that again. Presence. All right. Let's make sure that we're looking at presence. All right. Toyinda says she has to slow down, be intentional, and understand what is required of me now and later. Plan and be disciplined enough to focus on what's at hand. Focus on strategic and not urgent. Thank you for sharing that with us. Dr. Paul Bound says, taking inventory of where I am and employing steps to keep me focused and making adjustments where needed. All right, folks, this is about what? Presence. Public, private, presence. What am I bringing into the space? What mindset am I bringing? Bernard says one of the big words is accountability, as you stated earlier. We, as you said, an awareness of where we are. This is good, Patrick. Thank you so much, Bernard. I appreciate you being on today. Anybody else? Again, how do you become a self-aware person? And again, I'm going to go back to Nicole's statement, brutal honesty. All right, so if we're going to be self-aware, let's start there and start acknowledging what it is. So I want to just bring up a few tips that I think will be helpful in terms of a renewal practice. And 4 areas I would like you to write down and think about this as it relates to self-awareness. All right. Karen says, by being honest with yourself and accepting the good, bad, and ugly, not being ambivalent with self as well as others. Thank you so much for sharing that, Karen. Tina says, questioning my motives. All right. Thank y'all, folks. This is great. Great engagement today. Thank you so much. All right. I'm going to bring, Carmela says, asking myself, how am I showing up at this moment? I got to think about that. And I'm asking myself that with my afternoon meetings, perhaps some sessions that I have tomorrow, and my responses, the lack thereof. How am I engaging? What presence, again, am I bringing to the table? Thank you for sharing that, Mel. All right, here are your 4 areas. Let me know when you're ready. 4 areas to be able to build self-awareness. Otherwise, you'll have a self-awareness gap. Number 1, envision yourself. Envision yourself. What does that mean to envision yourself? That means that you have some type of visualization of the best vision and version of who you are. So as you lean into the strengths, you become a better person. You're not distracted by setbacks and other obstacles. So let's get into the practice of envisioning. You know, you got to go to that meeting. You know, you have to have those conversations. Okay, I'm envisioning, I'm imagining my best presentation, my best presence that I'm going to bring, my active listening that I'm going to bring to the table. And we verbalize it, we imagine it, we envision it. Athletes do it all the time. I'm mentally going to make the goal. I'm mentally going to catch the ball. I'm mentally going to make the free throw. I'm mentally going to do the long jump. I'm constantly thinking of where I want to go. Artists, musicians, creatives, because we're all creatives. We all create. You're creating different aspects of who you are by what's going on up here. So it's important, visualize that, imagine that, envision yourself. That's first key. Second renewal practice, ask the what questions. Ask the what questions. So let's if we can, I'd like you to create some what questions today. Go ahead and place those in the chat. All right, what questions? Keisha shares, for me, staying true to myself, extending grace to myself also. Absolutely, you are resilient. What are some what questions? Things like, what can I do to overcome? Here you go. Here's something, a what question? What can I do to overcome my fear of speaking up? I know something needs to change. I'll just forget it. It's going to be what it is. What can I do to overcome that fear or that trepidation or that hesitation? What can I do to not always have something to say? Maybe I don't need to speak. You see, there are a lot of different what questions that you want to ask yourself. So number 1 is envision yourself, but ask the what questions. I'd like to see from the tea timers today. Let's assemble some what questions. What questions? Thank you so much, Mel. What about this? Well, let's hear from you, folks. What are some good what questions that you have? Renita says, what can I do to keep my mind clear and think positively? That's a what question. Self-awareness. I wrote something else in there. What were the dynamics in the room? When I walked in, what did I immediately go to the head of the table? Where did I sit? What was my posture? Did I scan the room and like, okay, they're here. I know that's none of you all. You're so positive, motivational, inspirational tea timers. Tina says, what am I willing to do to be healthy? Woo. Come on, folks. Let's come up with some what questions. What questions are important? Envision yourself. Ask the what questions. Number 3, strengthen your brain. Oh, Nicole asked a question. What if I actually do succeed at this? Oh, yes. All these self-aware questions. So again, envision yourself. Keisha says, what can I do to help? These are all incredible what questions. What can I do to be more engaged? I would encourage you to copy some of these questions. Consider what the other tea timers are sharing today so that we can glean from these. What were the dynamics in the room? What am I willing to do to be healthy? What can I do to keep my mind clear and think positively? What if I actually do succeed at this? What can I do to be more prepared? What can I do to help? What can go right instead of what can go wrong? What if I do something different? See, all these what questions causes you to envision yourself asking the what questions, strengthening your brain. You know, you might even want to ask yourself, what was I experiencing in my body at that time? Was I sweating in my palms? Was I twitching? Was I getting a little stressed here? You know, asking yourself, because many times we carry that with us on our bodies as well. All right. Monique says, what impact do I have on others? Oh, I actually missed your other point. Get quiet. Allowing God to speak to me about me, listening and quickly implementing changes. All right, let's go to the third point. Strengthening your brain. One way of strengthening your brain. Share that with the group. I'm going to put mine in there right now. It's called sleep. There you go. How are you going to strengthen your brain? Sleep. Rest. You know what else you can do? You can name your feelings. Name your feelings. Go ahead and put it in the chat. What are ways that you can strengthen your brain? Read. Coming in here. Michelle says, what experience can I reflect on in order to have a more honest response? Somebody else says sleep. Here's some other what questions. What if I was wrong and they were right? Rest. Proper diet. What am I taking in? Come on, folks. What else can we do? Number 3, how are we strengthening our brains? Anybody else want to share that? You know what? You can name your feelings. Name your feelings. In other words, name it. If it's anger, name it. Why? Because then you can follow up with the question. Why am I angry? Why am I frustrated? Why am I happy? Asking those questions are important. All right, we have some more here. Retreat. Engage with others. Godly counsel. Exercise. I'm laughing at sleep because I just said today, this sleep at 2 a.m. and up at 7, it's got to get on the shell. Everybody just say sleep in the shell. That's right. We need to hashtag sleep in the shell today. Okay, there you go. That's yours right there. All right. What else we got? I can strengthen my brain by being proactive, intelligent and challenging conversations. In music, one of the things that lets you know where you musically is being able to read music by sight. It's called sightseeing. How you perform is based on knowledge beforehand, meaning practicing different skill sets that will allow you to perform proficiently. Can self-awareness and our efficiencies help us to grow outwardly and live a more productive life? Very good question, Bernard. Thank you. Spoken like a true skilled musician. Thank you for sharing that. Carmela says, laughter, sleep. That's right, accountability, sleep. One way in the shell to do that is turn that phone off at a certain time. Disengage at 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. at night, 30 to 45 minutes before you go to bed, turn off your digital devices. Vacation. All right. And lastly, let's look at this last one. Ask for feedback. What is that? That is getting perception of others. Feedback does not have to be scary. A lot of times, as soon as we hear the word, what do you use for feedback? People start tension up. Feedback doesn't have a negative or a positive connotation. Feedback is information. All right? It's information. Sometimes I do nothing. Love it. Absolutely. Doing nothing is good. All right? So again, let's think about this. Ask for feedback. Get brave. Get specific when you want feedback, though. Don't just say, what do you think about me? No, it has to be a little bit more detailed. In other words, you're asking questions like, how am I speaking when I'm in the room? How is my posture? How's my tune and my tone? All right. Asking for feedback is critical. And the more specific that you get, the more that you're going to improve who you are. Absolutely. These are important aspects of who we are. And so when we do that, yep, keyword trust. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing these principles today. So again, folks, these are just ways. And I'd like you to consider this as you're in the month of October, Emotional Intelligence Month, Emotional Wellness Month. Really start out with self-awareness practices. What was I feeling? What challenges did I face? What did I do well today in? How did I respond? Would I have responded differently? I ask myself that after certain meetings that are very tense. What is my intention for tomorrow? Wow. So these questions, what questions are important in order for us to expand who we are? So let's pause here for a moment as we close up our last few minutes. What are your takeaways from self-awareness today? What are your key takeaways? What are you going to apply? What are you going to see emerge in your life? What did you do well today? What were you feeling? What is your intention for today and for tomorrow? What strengths did you use to keep you focused? What are your takeaways from our self-awareness? It could be inward or outward. Public self-awareness, private self-awareness. Please go ahead and place that in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. And again, just want to remind you, those of you that are tuning in, thank you for connecting with us here at the Renewal Center. Want you to consider, please, our Giving Tuesday. Join us for this giving season as we give together. You can donate to visiting our website, www.therenewalcenters.com/give. You can scan that. It'll take you right there. And also, these are different ways to digitally give. We appreciate your connection with us. We are here every Tuesday at noon, first, second, and third Tuesdays. Every fourth Tuesday, it's at 7 p.m. now on the 4th. We have a special guest this coming fourth Tuesday. You don't want to miss this conversation that we're going to have the last Tuesday of this month. So I want to remind you of that. And we're offering other programming as we're expanding who we are here at the Renewal Center. Please make sure that you visit us at 159 Church Street, all right, in the historic district of Concord. We have a working space. We have an action room. We have a thought room. We would encourage you to come by and use the space as your wellness space. That's so important that you're able to do that. So I'd like to hear from you. What are some of your responses and your feedback? And again, there are different ways to support the Renewal Center. Please feel free to consider us as part of your philanthropic donation and giving. You can give through our website. You can text to give. We have a quick cash app as well at Cash Renewal Center, PayPal as well, the Renewal Center 2020 at Gmail, or you can also mail as well. We encourage you to download the mobile app so you can stay connected. We have a blog team. We load all of our audio and video presentations. You can replay them there on all of our sites. So we're looking forward to connecting with you again. So, all right, we got some comments. Yes, those who you trust. I'm going to use feedback to assess my personal growth and develop it towards my goals. All right, thank you. I'm going to bring Carmela back on. Mel, you ready? All right. So your thoughts on today?
Woo, I tell you, Patrick, now that was amazing. This was some really good renewal practices. You know, I was sitting here writing, I'd have like 3 pages worth of notes. And by the way, I just want to say that was some great what questions, wasn't it?
Yes.
I mean, we really got some great what questions. And I just love really just engaging like we did with our tea timers today about public self-awareness, private self-awareness, the importance of self-awareness. You know, it's just so essential. And I like what you said about it's about expanding, improving ourselves, of course, sharpening ourselves. That's growth.
Yes,
That's growth. I'm telling you, I'm just amazed at just the different ways that we can build self-awareness, those 4 key points.
Yes, it is. So important that we do that. So
yes.
I'd like to hear more from others. Please share with us your takeaways, your applications. As we are honoring Emotional Wellness Month and Emotional Intelligence Month, one of the principles here at the Renewal Center is renewing minds and restoring lives. And so we have what we are calling our Walk With Us team. Carmela, you want to share with us, with those our tea timers, what we're doing here at the Renewal Center as we're honoring the Alzheimer's Walk?
Absolutely. You know, we are so excited that we've partnered with the Alzheimer's Association. We want to invite everyone to walk with us, to come out and do the walk with us, the Alzheimer's Walk, Saturday, October the 29th. It's going to be in the morning. This information is on our Facebook page. Please register to be part of the Renewal team. If you are in the Concord, Charlotte area, surrounding area, come walk with us. If you can't walk with us and you're out of town, you can walk virtually in your own neighborhood, but we want you to register. So there's a link that you can register in. Just click that link, sign up for the team, and come and join us and be a part of raising awareness for Alzheimer's. We're excited about that. Also, if you want to join us earlier in the day, we still are partnering later in the day. We are partnering with the Alzheimer's Association to come and cook the Mediterranean food, which is our Mediterranean cooking demonstration. This is for healthy living for our brain and our body. We all can use this. So come and join us and sign up for this Zoom. It's free. This is a live webinar demonstration. You'll be getting some things and we'll be cooking along with the presenter. That's the same day, October 29th, 4 o'clock to 5:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We want to see you come and join us.
Absolutely. This is wonderful. So folks, again, please go to our Facebook page and our Instagram pages and register for the walk, October 29th. We're excited about being able to participate with this, a whole day of activities, an entire day of engagement. This is exciting.
I just want to say, right after Tea Time Tuesday, I'm going to repost it again. So the link will be fresh and you'll be able to see information about both of these different programs coming up.
Absolutely. So folks, we want to encourage you, please take time to register, connect with us, walk with us. All right. Yes. You are Tea Timers. We want you to be a part of what we're doing. We also want to share with you that we'll be back here next Tuesday at 12, the third Tuesday at 12, and then the last fourth Tuesday at 7 p.m. All right. So we appreciate everything for all of you that are out here. Thank you, Dad, for coming on today. That's my father, Dr. Paul C. Brown.
Thanks, Dad.
Yes, thank you for coming on. Karen, thank you so much. Okay, we hope that this has been helpful for all of you. We want to remind you to please follow us up on our Facebook page. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, make sure that you subscribe to our Instagram pages as well. We also on LinkedIn. We're just going to be expanding here because 2023, we're improving and sharpening our serve. We're going to be turning 2 years old as a Renewal Center on site here next month. We are excited about what it is that we're doing in terms of our focus. So again, one last thing I want to say, on Wednesdays, we have our Reforming Culture series. We are doing a teaching on the spiritual principles of maturity from the book of Ephesians. We're studying this all year. So please feel free to register that as well for that course. And that is on first, second, and third Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. All right, Carmela, any last words before we close out for the day?
Oh, just have a wonderful week, wonderful rest of your week. I'm telling you, I'm going to take this with me and I'm going to work on being emotionally well and my emotional intelligence. So I'm excited.
Yeah, some powerful stuff. I really have enjoyed this self-awareness today. I'm really reflecting and thinking through what it is that we can do to always improve these different areas in our lives, to expand who we are, to be able to be the best version of who we can be.
Yes, absolutely.
As people and as renewers. So this has been great. So thanks again, everyone. And as we always say, I'm Renewal. And take care of each other. Yeah. See you soon.